Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bright Spots. I am so excited that you are here. We have got an incredible show planned tonight, and I just cannot wait to share the information that our guest has to share with us tonight. So I know you're not going to be disappointed. I'm wondering what's going on with you tonight, huh? The weather, right? The weather in April has been incredible. Yesterday, I was at a charity golf event, and when I first thought about a golf event in April, I thought it is going to be cold, it is going to be rainy. You know, April is so unpredictable. But here in the Ohio Valley, it was 80 degrees. Can you believe it? 80 degrees. Unbelievable. And today did not disappoint either. 80 degrees today as well. Who knew, right? So this weather can continue. I've told you before, and I'll say it again. I don't like the cold weather. I'm done with the snow. So let's keep the sun shining, right? Because we want to see bright spots everywhere, right? All right. So I am not going to keep talking. I see there's a few folks on. If this is your first time on Bright Spots, this is an interactive show. So please post your comments down below in the comment section. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have a question for our guest, post that in the comments below too. And we would love to hear from you. So please don't be shy. This is an interactive show, and that's what makes it fun. So tonight's guest is JJ Conway. And JJ has a very unique story, and I think you're going to love hearing it. She graduated from the Air Force Academy and was the first African American to serve as a physicist in the Air Force, where she retired as a lieutenant colonel after 23 plus years. So how did an Air Force physicist become a financial planner? Well, JJ is going to explain that to us when she joins us here in the broadcast. So please make welcome without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, JJ Conway. Hey, JJ.
Hi, Lori. How you doing tonight?
I am doing fabulous. I hope you are.
Yes. It's such a joy to be here. I love what you're doing with Bright Spots. It really is a bright spot for so many people during everything that's gone on in the last year.
Well, thank you. That is absolutely our goal, is just to bring a little sunshine into everyone's home. And whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, we truly want you to see the bright spots that we bring on. And we want to highlight what folks are doing in extraordinary ways. And JJ, you are certainly extraordinary. So tell us about your journey. How did you go from being an Air Force physicist to being a financial wizard?
The journey from physicist to financial planner was born out of necessity, and I will caution my story at first, because I thought with this story that I was like super unique and the only person this ever happened to, and I've found out over the years that many military people come home to this same story. So we can talk more about that later, but I just want to give a shout out of support to my military brethren, that you are not alone and you can definitely overcome anything like this that happens to you. So what happened to me is I came home from a 6-month military trip and I found my house sold. My stuff was thrown out. I had no place to live. There were divorce papers in my face. And within a week, I was a divorced military single mom. And lo and behold, I discovered over $845,000 of debt that was run up in my name. A significant portion of that debt was consumer debt. Somehow, well, I understand how, but he was able to get himself onto my accounts. And even though I had taught debt-free living for a number of years, I had never closed down that first little credit card from college. And he made himself the primary and had a good time with my card. And so when military people go anywhere, even if it's just in country, for a long time, even if you're in the United States, but you're gone for 2 or 3 months, you sign over at what's called a power of attorney to your spouse. And so they're able to make all kinds of business decisions on your behalf, including credit, opening up new credit, taking loans against the properties that we had. And, back then you could get the 125% value loans because real estate was really a thing. It was skyrocketing. And so people then were able to get a loan worth more than the house. And so he had all these loans, and I didn't really know what was going on in the background. And then I came home, and then this whole thing fell apart. And that's when I discovered what he had done. And by the time I discovered it, now the market had crashed. And the houses were so far upside down, in addition to the consumer debt that had been run up while I was gone. And it was really devastating. But for me, I had a little one, I had a 3-year-old that I had to do something for, and I couldn't just give up, and I couldn't just cry in a puddle of tears and not feed him and not get him to school. And so those first couple of days, those first couple of weeks, maybe even first couple of months, honestly, my accomplishments for the day were get up, brush your teeth, get your uniform on, get to work, drop kid off at school, reverse, come home and fall into bed. And, after a while it was like, okay, this isn't going away. I need to learn how money works, and I need to learn how to pull myself out of this mess. And so that's how I became a financial planner. I learned how money worked. So I could get rid of debt.
What a beginning for you, basically reinventing yourself after complete collapse. So financial collapse. My son is an Air Force veteran, and my father was career Marine. So I am a military mom and a military daughter. So I understand the going away and the power of attorney. My son actually gave me his power of attorney when he went away to. He did 2 tours, Afghanistan and Iraq. So I had his power of attorney while he was away. I did not run up credit in his name, though. I just paid his bills. So JJ, it sounds like it wasn't an easy journey. So how did you? I'm sure that because this was someone you knew and someone you loved who did this to you, or to your credit. Um, what were the first steps that you took, other than going to work and trying to make the money to pay the bills? What were some of the steps that you took to correct some of those issues?
Well, at that level of debt, and I made pretty good money. I was a major at the time and I was teaching at Air University. So I made decent money, but at that level of debt, it's you still can't pay the bills. And so the very first thing that I had to do was really kind of humble myself and look honestly at the situation that I was in. Because for me, I had been helping people get out of debt in a nonprofit capacity for years. And I was also in the ministry, and my ex-husband was in the ministry. And just to have all of these things crashing, it really did a number on my self-worth. And one more number on my self-worth was having to try to find out, were there any assistance programs? And sure, there were some assistance programs for military members, but you had to go through your unit first squadron, first sergeant in order to get access to those. And here I was, a major. I was the chief of the commander's action group. So I did all of his special projects and hosted the Tuskegee Airmen and all these very big, important things. And I really had to humble myself to go ask for help. And then I was told that help didn't exist for me because I made too much money. And
Mm.
so the next thing that I had to do was really literally month after month call the creditors and assure them, I am going to pay you, but I can't pay you right now. And I'm going to pay you, and I have to emphasize that, but I can't pay you right now. And month after month, looking at my salary and my position and everything that I had accomplished in my professional world, and realizing that this was my personal life, that it was just a shambles. It was very tough. And I'm so thankful for faith and my faith in particular. Although my faith was at its lowest point at that time, the members of my church, not everyone, I'll admit, there are a lot of people who have issues with divorcing ministers, but there are a lot of people who wrapped their arms around me and fed me and brought me clothes for my son. And it was one of those humbling things. It's like, you're on a fixed income and you're receiving assistance from the state. And here you are giving me bags of clothes and I make 6 figures. And I still can't pay my bills, right? And so it was really the humbling. But for me, I think when we form an intention of where we want our life to go, it helps us to do that humbling and ask for the help.
I'm glad you brought up faith. I'm sure that this is difficult for anyone. Without faith, I don't know how you get through it. I truly don't. And I say that about a lot of experiences that we have in life. Without our faith, it would be difficult to journey through those valleys that we find ourselves in now and then. But I truly believe that when we're in those valleys, when we look back, maybe not while we're there, but when we look back, we do see the power of God's hand, and
Yes.
it really does carry us through. And there's usually a lesson in there somewhere, that I guess we have to learn. And again, it's not something we see while we're there, but we see it after what that lesson is. So thank you for sharing your faith. I wondered when I saw your email address if you were in the ministry. My dad is a retired Baptist preacher. He just retired actually 2 weeks ago. So at 80. So I absolutely get the military turned preacher turned pastor. Now, were you a chaplain in the service as well?
No, I was not a chaplain in the service, and this whole incident worked a number on my faith so much that even though I never gave up on God, and I'm thankful he didn't give up on me, I pretty had a chip on my shoulder for quite a few years. And then I moved to another base, and after base, I ended up back in Louisiana, and we started a church. And my leadership say, we want you to start this church, and we've already got a couple picked out to pastor the church, but we just need somebody who's a go-getter to get everything in place. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And there, the Lord knew, because that couple decided to go a different way with their lives and in the ministries that they supported. And I ended up becoming the pastor. And I really had to come to terms with the Lord about all of that experience. Like, how could you let this happen to me? I've been so faithful. I've done everything right. I've checked all the blocks, and I hope it won't offend your listeners for me to say this very personal thing. When you are a person of color and you grow up seeing all of the stereotypes, for me, in the back of my mind, there were certain things I never wanted to be. I never wanted to be a single Black mother on assistance. And I know there's no shame in doing what you have to do for your family. And I know that those programs are there to help people. But my ex-husband's mother was on assistance, and my mother told a story of a brief time of being on assistance. She's not a person of color, but then she told me how she did not know her parents who had moved here from Italy as children, how they had a brief period of being on assistance, and she only found that out because she had to apply for it herself. And you put all of that together, and I'm like, I am not going to be this thing. And despite all of my best efforts, even though I had a good job, I'm thankful for the good job, and I was in the STEM field, so I love that. But despite my best efforts, here I was, a broke single Black mom. And so it let me realize that, when I came to terms with the Lord about that, the Lord really had to take away the hurt and the pain and the anger and the frustration. And he had to open up my eyes to some of the preconceived notions that I was holding about the people that he had called me to serve. And so there's many more lessons that I got out of that whole experience, but that was one right there. It's like, you can't be so vigilant against a group of people that you never want to be a part of, so deep inside, and you say you love everyone. And I never had realized that about myself. Yeah. And there I was.
It's amazing how he can reveal things to us, right? That oftentimes we don't want to see or recognize, So JJ, let's talk a little bit about how you retired from the Air Force, and you have gone into entrepreneurship, correct? You started your own business. Tell us a little bit about that journey. How did that happen? You retired after 23 years. And how long ago was that?
Oh, well, that was actually very recent. In fact, we had a little mini celebration in November. As of 1 November, I retired from the Air Force, and my net worth was zero. We had a mini JJ's worth nothing party.
Oh, how fun. How fun.
Because
we're out of debt.
It had been so negative for so long. But my entrepreneurial journey started 11 years ago when all of this happened, because I made a significant amount of money. My creditors were willing to work with me because every month I was assuring them that I will pay. So if you've got anybody listening that's having trouble paying your bills, I want to tell you to run towards your creditors and not away, because they won't sue you if they're confident that you're going to pay them. All right. And that's something I teach people to do. Here's the things you do to make sure your creditors know and believe you when you say you're going to pay them. Right. And so with that, I knew I needed to do something. So I must have signed up for like 3 or 4 different network marketing companies, and I made money with them, and I paid down debt. And then I found that I was really, really good at what some people call picking. And that is where you take stuff that is either estate sales or in thrift stores or things like that, that's underpriced or undervalued, and you grab it and you resell it. And I would go into those thrift stores. I would get those $2 bags, fill them up with all the things that other people tried to consign and they priced it too high. And I'd turn right back around Monday and sell all of them for half the price. And I seriously made about $1,000 to $2,000 a month just doing that. And then I discovered, hey, I'm a teacher at Air University. I'm an instructor at Air University. Why don't I try teaching people? I may not be out of debt, but I know how to get out of debt, and I know how to invest in real estate. And so I literally got out of debt teaching people how to get out of debt. And I found that the teaching and the real estate were far more profitable classes than the picking or the network marketing things for my personality. And so that's how the entrepreneurial journey came along. And so when it was time to retire from the Air Force, I had already built up enough of a business and enough passive income through the online courses and things like that, that I like to consider myself graduated from working mom to full-time mom and entrepreneur.
Oh, that's fabulous. Wow. So you now do real estate, and I see is that a book behind you that says Dart? Are you also an author?
Oh, yes. I've got quite a few books that I've written, and I will caution anybody who goes back to look them up. You know, John Maxwell says your first 7 books aren't any good. I think that's true. I don't think my books got good until about 8 or 9. But what you see behind me is my class. It's my DART method of real estate investing. And what I teach people to do is how to invest in real estate without taking on more debt. And so I'm not a very popular real estate guru amongst all the other real estate gurus, because everybody else teaches debt. When you've got $845,000 of debt, you don't ever want to take on any more debt. You want to do things so that you can sleep well at night. And that's what I do.
Wow. So this sounds like a good time to share your website. So let's talk about your website. And you offer a class through your website, correct? You have enroll for free here. So tell the folks a little bit about what happens when they enroll in the program here on your website.
When you enroll in the university, the Building Wealth Together school, when you enroll, you will get access to a collection of courses, and quite a few of them are free depending on where your level is. So if you need a quick bit of help, we have the 3 easy ways. There, you've got it right there. The 3 easy steps to win with money. That's a free class. Depending on where you're at, there are other classes for different stages of life. People who can pay their bills but don't have enough to really do what they want to do, they want to participate in something that will allow them to maximize their money. And then you get to a stage where you have plenty of money, you've got plenty of passive income. Now, what you need is someone to help give you some structure and guidance as far as actually using that money in a responsible way, how to give responsibly, and how to enjoy. You would be surprised at how many people come to me for financial planning or coaching. They have amassed a portfolio of a couple million to 10 to 15 million, and they are afraid to spend some money. So wherever somebody is in their journey, I've got a class that can help them.
Wow, that's really fabulous. It looks like you have truly built some incredible resources here for folks who are at any stage of the game with their finances, which is wonderful. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. This is truly, truly a bright spot. And I think that a lot of folks are going to find these resources very valuable and will want to take advantage of those. And folks, if you are interested in taking a look at JJ's website, it is www.buildingwealthtogether.com. And I know that JJ would be happy if you wanted to reach out to her and talk about any one of these classes. There is a contact us on your website, correct?
There is. And there's a way to ask questions. There's a way to submit, because we do question and answers, Wealth Building Wednesday, and people can submit their questions and we add them. And so one thing that I would like to highlight about the site is it's not just about money. A lot of the things that you're going to find on the website are about personal growth and development. Because one of the things that I discovered is that even after somebody's gotten you into $845,000 of debt, your money problems usually aren't just money problems. A lot of times they're people problems. And so you might have seen as Lori scrolled through, you might have seen the empowered technical leaders. There are a lot of leaders out there, scientists and engineers, who become leaders and don't realize that the skills that got them to this leadership position aren't the skills they need to do well at the leadership position. So I have different courses on there to help you with those different things. And I'll give you an example of something in my life. And you also see some of the ones down there about the stories I was told when I was told I couldn't do my job because of my color. I know those don't apply to everybody, but they do apply to a lot of us, especially gender and age. But one thing that I realized is I had very quickly gotten out of the 150,000 of consumer debt that my ex had run up in my name. But I wasn't paying down the real estate debt because I felt like it wasn't mine, it was his, and it wasn't my fault, and it wasn't fair. And a friend of mine needed some client hours so she could get her financial certification, and I let her coach me. And she's like, "You're spending $500 a month buying clothes from this thing instead of taking care of this issue of this debt. And you say you want to be debt free by the time you retire from the Air Force, but at this rate, you're never going to get there." Oh, I was mad at her, let me tell you. But she was right. I had wasted about 2 years of that 11 that it took me to get out of all this debt. I had wasted about 2 years wallowing in self-pity and having shopping sprees because I finally could, and not taking care of the debt that I should have taken care of. You know, sometimes we're not responsible for what happens to us, but we are responsible to our dream and our future. It's not necessarily my fault per se. Although if I look back on the relationship, there were red flags. But it's not that, I'm not going to take ownership for what somebody did while I was gone and gave them power of attorney. But I must take ownership of my life and my future.
Great advice, JJ. Thank you. And folks, if you're looking for JJ on social media, you can find her. JJ knows the way on most of your favorite social media sites. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yep.
Okay. So
all
you
of
could,
LinkedIn, Facebook, internet. Instagram. Yep. I'm not on TikTok, I'll admit. And I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not on Clubhouse, but I'm about to buy one because I think I need to be there.
I do have an iPhone and I keep seeing things about Clubhouse, but I have not joined yet. There's so many of them out there. How do you know which ones are the right ones? I think that's one of the reasons I love this platform, is because it can broadcast to all of them at one time and I don't have to go find them all. So, well, JJ, we are coming to the bottom of the hour and we try to keep this at 30 minutes for you and for our viewers. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to tell the viewers today?
I would like to encourage your viewers, Lori, that it is never too late to win with money. It doesn't matter where you are starting from. You can achieve your financial goals in very short order if you follow very specific steps. And it all starts with visualizing your future and where you want to go. Many of my most successful clients are actually women in their 60s or 70s who've been in poverty all their lives and are finally learning about money now that they've been divorced or their husband has passed away. And they are amazed at how simple it is to take charge of your money and how short it takes to get to a place of financial flexibility where you can finally buy your own house, or you can take that next step, or you can leave a legacy to your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. It is never too late.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with JJ Conway, financial planner, actually retired Air Force colonel turned physicist turned financial planner. You can visit her website at www.buildingwealthtogether.com for more information, and find JJ on all your favorite social media channels. JJ knows the way. JJ, it's been a pleasure having you, and I hope you'll come back and visit us again here on Bright Spots.
Thanks, Lori. Bye.
Bye. So folks, that ends another episode of Bright Spots. I am so excited because this week we have 2 episodes. Tomorrow night, Angela Prim, the most incredible singer that you will ever hear, in my opinion, speaker and now author added to her resume. She just released a book, So You Say You Want to Sing, The Memoirs of a Background Vocalist. And I devoured it when I received my copy. It is an incredible book, and I am so absolutely honored that Angela has agreed to join us here on Bright Spots. So please tune in tomorrow night for another episode of Bright Spots, and bring your questions for the incomparable Angela Prim. I'll see you tomorrow night, everyone.